Hey folks, Fat Guy Flyers RC, coming to you from the Avon Park Aero Models Club, Club 4747 in the AMA registry. Okay, this is actually the maiden flight. I snuck one out on you. This is the FREEWING twin 70mm ME262. And I know you're probably thinking, well, don't you have the Dynam ME262? Yes and no. Off camera, I went to fly it the other day. Both motors blew up on takeoff, never got off the ground. Contacted Anthony at FPV Vills. He said, oh my gosh, he had Dynam send me out 2 new motors for it. I put them in it, and sure enough, I went off to take off again, and the left motor blew on the exact same way. So I'm done with that ME262, and so he sent me everything I need to send it back to him. And in the meantime, I want an ME262, so I got the FREEWING one. So that's what we got, and we're going to take it up and do the maiden flight. All I've done is taxi around the driveway to do a range test. So I didn't do an unboxing build because this plane has been around for so long, and it's not new, and there's dozens and dozens of films and dozens of stuff on it. So, all right, I'm going to fly in my high rates, and I'm going to fly in manual mode right off the bat just for testing. Wind is out of the northwest, so I'm going to go back down there and take off that direction. Okay, right, left, up, down, right, left. And this is one of the few models where there were no suggested rates or anything in it. Got a 5,000 HRB in there, 6S. And like I said, there's no rates or anything suggested in the manual, so I went with 100, 80, and 190 and 80 with 30% expo on ailerons and elevator, I believe, if I remember right. And I just did the best guess on the flaps. And I don't think there's going to be an elevator to flap mix needed. All right.
Let's start the party over.
All right, like I said, we're going to take manual right off the bat.
Taking off flaps.
All right, let me stand out here since this is a new plane. I'm not sure about it.
Retract tucked away. Flaps are up.
Well, it definitely needs a little bit of up elevator.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Like I said, this is the first time flying, so let's see how my flap.
Taking off flaps. Landing flaps.
All right.
Flaps are up.
She wants to dive just a touch with takeoff flaps or landing flaps.
Take landing flaps. Flaps are up.
All right.
Taking off. Flaps are up.
All right.
The gear is down.
All right, my gear is down. All right.
AS3X mode.
All right, I got this. Now I'm out of manual mode, back to AS3X now. Oh man, she's locked in, nice.
Landing flaps.
Not nearly enough elevator authority. Okay.
Flaps are up.
All right, let's try taking off again. And we're definitely gonna have to work a little bit of up elevator mix for flaps. I'm gonna try landing her again with no flaps. No flaps takeoff.
Retracts tucked away. The gear is down. 1 minute.
Make sure my gear is down. And it is. Okay.
30 seconds.
Definitely gonna have to have flaps. Hope the elevator or umbrella's not in the way.
20 seconds.
All right.
Motor is happy to touch.
All right. Think I got some damage already. Yep. My nose gear.
Retracts tucked away.
Well, maybe not. Let's see, now that closes.
The gear is down.
No, I guess it's okay.
Retracts tucked away.
That's weird that they close at a different rate.
The gear is down.
Okay, try that now.
Retracts tucked away. The gear is down.
Okay. Well, definitely want to work some up elevator mix, and I definitely need more elevator authority. So I'm going to go in there and mechanically change it. Well, I've got it set for max throws now, mechanically. So, all right. Well, we'll take it back, but that's still a first flight, and I'll get it sorted out. I got her trimmed out. She just needed more up elevator, and she needs up elevator, not down elevator for a mix. I'll have to put a little bit of up elevator into that mix. 15 seconds left on a 5,000 HRB on a 3.5 minute timer. Still got 49% left. Let me, I'll go ahead and keep rolling, but I'll pause the film. I'm going to work a little bit of up elevator into those landing flaps, and then we'll continue the flight. All right, you can continue.
Motor is hot. Don't get burned.
All right, I put 20% of up elevator mix
Flaps. Landing flaps.
in the landing flap because she kept wanting to rise. Actually, I'm gonna make it 10% up elevator. We'll go from there. But I know you're saying we'll just put a flight mode in, but then how can I share with you how that is if you don't use flight modes?
Taking off flaps. Flaps are up.
All right, so let's try that again. Because she definitely needs flaps for landing, that's for sure. But I got her trimmed otherwise. Okay.
Taking off flaps. 10. Retract tucked away. Grid land the ME262 now. The gear is down. Retract tucked away. The gear is down.
Yeah, gear is down.
Landing flaps. Flaps are up.
That was too
1
much,
minute.
too much mix.
Landing flaps.
I need to go that down, make that down to 5% up elevator. Because now she's wanting to rise. I don't know, that's pretty good right there. That couldn't have been a more perfect landing. That couldn't have been. I think that's about the best landing I've ever had of any plane. That was like absolutely perfect.
Flaps are up.
All right, so we're just going to leave that there. All right. Back on my dashboard. We're 1 minute and 13 seconds over, so we flew for 4 minutes and 43 seconds total, if that's how that math works. So almost 5 minutes of total time. Of course, there's a little bit of up and down the runway. So a good 4 minutes at least in the air. And let's see what kind of juice is left in the tank now. Okay, 26%, perfect. All right, that's perfect. All righty, well that's the ME262 from FREEWING. Weird how the gears cycle. If y'all have any suggestions on that, let me know, but it's weird how the nose gear and the main gear go up separately and down separately. So, all right, well there you go. Folks, thank you so much. Definitely a successful Maiden. I guess I don't have any damage. It just, see, that closes, now those close. They work.
The gear is down.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for watching, and God is good, and we'll go over this flight. We're going to do a couple more flights with it. Next flight, I'll actually do some more testing. I need to establish stall testing. I want to fly a little bit inverted, see how she flies inverted, and do a little bit of, see what kind of aerobatics I can get out of it. And then we'll go over, and then we'll do a third flight, Lord willing, the creek don't rise, and get you a speed trial. And all right, we'll see you back in the man cave after all 3 flights, or however many flights I get. God bless y'all, and we'll see you later. Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. All right, second flight on the FREEWING ME262 70mm. This time I'm going to try to get some stall testing and try some inverted flight. I've got her trimmed out on the Maiden. But now I need to, so I'm going to leave it in AS3X. Got a boom box going by. All right, west. Now the wind's out of the east, so we'll take off from down here now. I think I got my flap settings perfect now. All right, let me get behind camera precious. Or actually, I'm going to just, well, let me get over here. Excuse me. Okay.
Taking off flaps.
All right, here we go.
Retracts tucked away. Flaps are up. Time remaining 4 minutes.
Let's do a flying plane. All right, let's do a stall test now. You're flying along, you lose power. What's it do? All right, it just starts slumping forward. All right, now we're gonna come back that same direction again. And we're gonna try to hold up elevator. And I'm trying to establish which wing is gonna drop. Okay, lose power. Up elevator, up elevator, up elevator, up elevator, 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 elevator. Okay, never mind. Right wing. Right wing. Violent, right wing. Don't stall. All right.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
All right, a little bit of pressure needed, not much for hold inverted.
The gear is down.
Okay. Let me get a gear pass here, make sure my gear is down. And it is.
Landing flaps.
Oh, the wind has changed positions again. We're going to have to land from the other direction now.
Flaps are up. Time remaining 2 minutes. Landing flaps.
All right. Everything okay? All right.
Taking off flaps.
Let's try that again. Let's see if I can't get a little bit of inverted this time.
Retract flaps are up.
Okay. All right, I like my CG. Only had to hold up a little bit of elevator. Now I'm flying so high, folks, because
The gear is down. 1 minute.
it's a new plane. It's only the second time in the air. So I'm not used to it yet. I want to keep it several mistakes high. All right, gear is down.
Landing flaps.
Not bad. Not bad at all. We got 30 seconds. We'll do one more quick up and down from down there.
Taking off flaps. 30 seconds. Landing flaps.
Another absolute, I mean, where is the toast when I've got all that butter? Man! Sorry I'm yelling, folks. But that had to have been about, for the second flight ever,
flaps are up.
I tell you what, that had to have been the most feathery, beautiful greaser. Now, I was going in the wind, but the flap settings are perfect. Now, we're going to get a third flight in with a 4900 SMC pack. We'll get a speed run, and then we'll get a speed test on that. And then on all 3 flights, we'll go over in the man cave after all that. But tell you right now, the settings I've got it at now, the AS3X settings, the flap settings, my throws and everything are perfect, and I'll be glad to share them with you. Stay tuned for the after our third flight back in the man cave. We'll see you there. God is good, and tell you what, that was fun.
Motor is happy to touch.
Oh, check the battery, check the battery, check the battery. Yep. I get so excited. I tell you, I had 2 seconds left, and I think,
let's start the party over.
and I had it for 4 minutes and 15 seconds. I had 2, so 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's check the battery. Man, that was fun. 52% left. These SMC packs, I tell you what, you just add a minute flying time just because of them. But still had 4 minutes and 13 seconds, and I still got over half the battery. So you know what? Take up one more time.
Motor is hot. Don't get burnt by it.
Take up one more time. And I'll tell you what, that is a good flying plane right there.
Taking off flaps.
Of course, when you get a plane balanced right and trimmed right, they're all going to be good flying if they got enough power.
Flaps are up. Retract tucked away. Time remaining 4 minutes. Gear is down. Landing flaps.
Be sure my gear is down. And it is.
Time remaining 3 minutes. Flaps are up.
I'll tell you what, when you got a plane trimmed right, balanced right, and it's got a good power to weight ratio, you you can have a lot of fun, and it makes you where you want to keep flying it. And this has got a really good balance of all those things so far that I can tell. That's only the second flight, and I flew, I forget what I said now. I think I had 3 seconds left, and I flew for another 2 minutes. So I flew for, I had 2 seconds left before. I had 4 minutes and 13 seconds. I just flew for another 2 minutes and 51 seconds. So just flew for another 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Well, no, 2 minutes and, anyways, good 2.5 minutes more. So I've got a good 6 minutes on this battery now. It's hot. Not like super hot. You can leave your hand on it. 29%. Okay. Timer says 2:51 over. And I flew for 4 minutes and 13 seconds. And now it says 2 minutes and 51 seconds. So I don't know. I'd have to look at the screen to figure out. But time it. But anyways, I flew for well over 5, probably 6 minutes at least. So, all right. There you go. And that's an SMC 5900, their new generation. And I tell you what, I'm very impressed with their batteries, and I'm very impressed with this plane. That was just the second flight. Third flight coming up here in a second. We're going to do a speed run, and what we're going to do is we're going to take her up, do a speed. I already talked about this, haven't I? Yeah, I think. Well, anyway, we're going to do a speed run on the next flight because that was the second flight on this one, and third flight will be with a 4900 SMC pack. We'll get a speed run, see what kind of performance we get out of it, and then we'll meet you back in the man cave for all three. Go over all 3 flights. All right. God bless y'all, and we'll see you later. Hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. All right, third flight of the FREEWING ME Twin 70 262. This time we're going to do a speed run. We're going to do one run in the wind, straight and level, one run with the wind, and then a dive, and give you all 3. Obviously, with into the wind, straight and level is going to be the truest performance, and the other ones are just going to be for fun. All right, let's go ahead and so 3 up and 3 down. Let's get turned around here. And we are reading. A little bit of a cross breeze, but that's okay too. This is the 3rd time in the air. All right. Don't need takeoff flaps. This is just going to be into the wind.
Retract tucked away. AS3X mode.
All right.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
This is going to be into the wind starting now.
The gear is down.
All right.
Landing flaps. Flaps are up.
Yeah, but I really don't think I'm going to have any damage. I got up there, and as soon as I got up, I realized suddenly this wind came out way too strong. I can't land her. So my best hope is a soft landing into the heavy grass, and that's exactly what I got. But we're going to have to get out of here now.
Mojo is happy to touch. Retract, the gear is down. Retract tucked away.
Looks like 0 damage. But what I did, I think that's what saved it. Letting it go in the heavy grass, because that just acted like a real big cushion. I know I'm good at flying in wind, but you have to remember, and it's something I get so caught up in flying that I forget about, is the wind that you feel here at your level, every 5 feet you go up, it gets exponentially stronger and stronger and stronger. So if you feel just a gentle breeze where you're at, it's 10 to 15 mile an hour up higher. So I get so caught up in flying, I don't think about that.
The gear is down.
Let's make sure our gear is fine.
Retract tucked away.
That just kills me that they go separately though.
The gear is down.
Okay, I think we're fine. Let's but I think I'm going to count my blessings and call it quits. Let's see how fast we did get it though. 104 mile an hour, and that was with the wind. That was into the wind. 104 into the wind. Not bad at all. And now it's starting to rain. So I think that's my cue. Mother Nature said you got part of your speed test in. I bet you're done now. So I think it's time to go get a pizza. See y'all later, and God bless you. We'll see you back in the man cave, and we'll cover these 2.5 flights. Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Fat Guy Flies RC studio in the man cave. All right, yes, I snuck one in on you. This is the FREEWING twin 70mm ME262. Now, you're going to say, well, wait a minute. Don't you have the Dynam ME262? Yes and no. It's in a box in the garage ready to be shipped. All right, off camera, back up a little bit off camera, about 4 weeks ago, went to do a morning shot, because sometimes I actually do fly, just for fun, not making a film. Went to take off. I was making a film because I like to evaluate my flights, but as soon as I went to take off, both motors just, I'm going to take off up to speed and they just both blow on me. Both the fans disintegrate, okay? So, I get a hold of Anthony. I take that little, good thing I had that video, send that little video to him. He goes, oh my gosh, that's horrible. All right, he goes, well, I'm going to make Dynam take care of you. So he got a hold of Dynam. He had them ship me 2 brand new same motors, and they're very easy to take the hatch off, 3 plugs, swap them out. Make sure you put them on the correct side, because they do rotate inwards. Okay, and I did. And went to take it out again. This time I was going to film it, going to make another review because I haven't flown the plane in a while. Went to take off, and the left motor did the exact same thing, taking off. It blew. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And there comes a point where I'm done with the plane. If I get to that point, I'm not going to fly it again. I'm going to harvest it for parts or give it away. I'm done. Okay? And I was at that point. I'm not going to fight with it anymore. Okay, I've got way too much competition in this room to fly, but I want an ME262 and I don't want a little bitty thing. So the only alternative for me in my economy is the FREEWING. Well, anyways, needless to say, Anthony at FPV Bills is taking care of me. He's letting me, because we actually have traded planes for it, and so he's going to be sending me out another plane to replace it, but not a Dynam plane. I'll be honest, Dynam has done some good things, and they've done some improvements. They do better with their WARBIRDs, single engine, regular WARBIRDs, like their Hellcat thing. They seem to stick to that. But anyways, that's a different subject. I'm not going to be featuring as many Dynams as I have been. I still think they got a good product. I think you just got to work at them. But for me, I just don't have the time or the patience anymore
to keep working at them. Okay, it's just, you know, they're still good. I still back them. I still recommend them. They teach you a lot. And but right now I'm just going to take a back seat on Dynamos for a while. So I may return because I still think they got a good product. You just have to be, it's for advanced modeling. All right, let's talk about this thing. This thing flew great. This, you know, of course you're paying 3 times what you'd pay for a Dynamo. Okay, this was $535 and I paid $535 for it. Anyways, when the Maiden went well, the first flight I thought, man, this is squirrely. Now this is one of the older FREEWING models. Okay, this is one of their older ones. So the instructions didn't give you any rates, didn't give you any throws. It was a very outdated instruction booklet. So I had to figure out the rates and everything on my own. Now I do like to look at other videos and watch other people and see what they do. That gives me an idea, but at the end of the day, I usually just end up with my own rates based upon my own experience. So having said that, let's go over the rates in which I flew. I flew in my high rates today, only high rates. And ailerons, let me get turned around where you can graphically see what it is instead of me just telling you numbers. I want you to be able to see it in action. Okay. On the ailerons, this is just a great size too. Okay. Ailerons 100% with 30% expo. Okay. Elevator I found after the second flight, it doesn't have enough elevator authority, and I already have it mechanically set for the maximum amount of throw, so I increased it to 110 electronically, and I cannot, you know, I've got on the furthest out on the control, on the servo arm, and the furthest hole in on the control surface arm. So that's maximum throws, and it just didn't feel like it had enough elevator authority. Now I'm at 110. I'm happy. 30% expo on that. Elevator or rudder, 100%, 50%, 50% expo, and that's fine. Now I found now understand about flight modes. Yes, if I flew just for me, like I've said before, if I flew just for me, okay, then I do flight modes all day long for elevator flat mixes. But in order for me to explain to you, hey, I got a flight mode in here from elevator flat mix, and so many clicks here, so many clicks there, and that's what worked. It's hard for you to understand that as the everyday viewer or everyday or beginner pilot. What does he mean by that? So I go through the work of figuring out the actual numbers of the old-fashioned way of figuring my flaps out, and that way I can tell them to you. Now, if you want to go off on your own and learn how to do flight modes, more power to you. I know how to do it. It is much easier. It's a one-shot and done deal. But I don't want to teach it. I want you to do the work behind it, then you'll really appreciate it. Okay, so that's my rant on that. Here's what I discovered works best for these flat mixes. Okay, now for flaps up, we're negative 100%, no mix, obviously. Taking off flaps. Okay, they're split flaps, 0%, no mix. Landing, however, I found that with 100% down, 100%, positive 100%, and no mix, she wanted to really dive on me. So I worked in a negative 10%. Now understand with flapped elevator mix, the negative is up elevator. Okay, so if you look at my elevator, you can see it rise. Taking off flap. It rise negative 10 on the elevator. And I had 2 or 3 of the best landings I've ever had with an RC playing with the flaps in. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Summer colds suck. But, so negative 10% of up elevator, and she just glides in so beautiful. All right. Now, let me talk about, that's the flap settings. Let's talk about our AS3X settings, because I do have a Spectrum receiver that's enabled forward programming. My AS3X settings, the gains on roll, pitch, and yaw were 30, 40, and 50. My priority, all at 100. Usually, excuse me, on my jets, I usually go 100 on priority on roll, pitch, and yaw. I just seem to like that. Stop lock, all at 50, on roll, pitch, and yaw. I did nothing with release rate. Gains are set at one-time gains. Don't have a nose wheel gyro. I just have a 6-channel receiver in here. Okay, one-time gains. Now, talk about some things about the plane. This is the negative things about the plane. Number one, the instructions were okay. They taught you how to put the plane together, but they usually, with FREEWING, they usually give you suggested throws, suggested this, and suggested that, which are a good starting point. Basically, you put the plane together, it tells you where the CG was, and that's all it was good for. All right, but that's not that big of a deal, because this should not be your first plane, if you know. And CG is 100 to 110 millimeters back from the leading edge root, which is always where the wing touches the fuse. So right there, okay. I've got 2 glue marks, as I normally like to do. Try to maneuver this around. So I've got the 2 glue marks. I put my fingers between them 2 glue marks, and she CGs beautifully right there. Okay, nice and level. This is not a death Dorito, two brothers. Okay, this is not a death Dorito. I don't want tail heavy. I want level with this one. This is a traditional wing. You want level, maybe even favoring nose heavy, but not just favoring, not not real distinct nose heavy. But in order to get that, put a 5,000. See how far back? Basically a finger width in from the front, and that's where I get that CG, basically in the middle of where they've got that strap. And that's an HRB 5000 there. Okay? It's like, great, tell us the CG, but how'd you get the CG? Well, that's where I get the CG. Now, negative, let's go over some of the negatives about the plane. It's an older FREEWING model, so they don't have the plastic cladding around. It would be, see, already just a little bit of handling it today. I'm already starting to lose paint around. Okay, no big deal. That's to be expected. But this is weird, and I don't know if it's me setting it up wrong, but I plugged the gear in according to the instructions. Okay, but watch the gear. This is weird, and maybe y'all can help me out with this. Nose, that closes. Now that gear closes. Open it.
The gear is down.
This opens. They open. That one opens. It works. It's just, that just seems strange to me. The things like, yeah, I would think it would all, maybe it's because of the age of the model. You know. The other thing is you look at them flaps. These flaps, these inward flaps, are controlled by a tiller arm from the servo for the outboard flaps. Okay, so
Landing flaps.
that means that these have a lot of authority, these have a lot of give. Doesn't affect much in the flying. Okay, I'm just letting you be aware of it.
Flaps are up.
Okay, so, and let's talk a little bit about flying the plane. I only have 2.5 flights. You're saying, wait a minute, that's not possible. All right, first 2 flights in the book. Third flight was going to be a speed run. I only got the 1 speed run, then lightning started striking, so I had to land her, so I didn't get to complete the flight. I only went up and went down. I think I had her up to 104 mile an hour. It'll be in the video. And straight and level flight into the wind. So that's pretty good for this size of a model. I'm sure if I would have got her, you know, got her into a dive or something, I could have gotten over 130 easy, because she's a big model, she's heavy. All right, let's talk about the race. And I like the fact that with the gear up, you can set it right down on these hard plastic plates. You could almost belly land this thing on these, because they got the hard plastic plate on these. Problem is that you're going to eat up a lot of debris. It's going to get up in your EDFs. All right, talked about our flap settings already. Talked about our rates. Okay. Talked about AS3X. Where was I going with this? See, I'm not all that spit and polished. Okay. I like all the plastic on this plane. There's lots of plastic places that are just key. Nose cone. That's hard plastic there. Hard plastic on the front of these inlets here. Okay. I like that. This is all plastic, so that's good. Oh, I know I was going to talk about flight characteristics. All right, Inverted flight, I had to hold a little bit of elevator in to hold inverted at the CG, having the CG right. And that was no big deal. But stall. She drops a wing hard to the right. On a regular stall where you're going along, you lose power and you hold up elevator to see which way she's going to stall. I mean, it was a violent to the right stall. And it was a very abrupt. So, if you're going to do your stall testing, get it up high. I was able to save it. I kicked the sticks. I think if I remember right, if I'm stalling the right, I'll give the opposite rudder. I do it automatically. I don't even think about it. I just do it automatically. I did opposite rudder the way it was going and gave some power and got out of it. So that's something you need to practice too. Practice at it when you're learning all your flying skills. Learning how to recover out of a stall. So anyways, great flying plane, a lot of fun. Don't stall it. Keep up the speed in the turns, because you do have this really wide wing. Anytime you have a wide wing like this, usually that means it's going to fly very stable. However, it's going to be very prone to stall if you get too slow in an aileron turn. So just be aware of that. In turns, you got to be aware of that. Decals are already applied. All I did was give it a clear coat, and that's pretty much it. Cut her put together. Now, y'all are going to give me some negative feedback about this. Okay, orientation was an issue, and this is one of the reasons, so this is what I'm getting ready to say. I know I may or may not do this, but these EDF's motors have the place on the back to put afterburners. I know, the ME262 did not have afterburners. I didn't even know what afterburners were. This is the first jet. And it may look stupid, but it would help a lot with orientation. And it would look cool. It would look stupid, but it would look cool, since we know that this did not have afterburners in it, because it was the first jet ever. It's just, I can easily bolt them on, and it would really, really help with orientation. So I may do it. Y'all don't hate me for it. But, hey, I may or may not do it. I don't know. But I'm thinking about it. Y'all talked me out of doing it with the J65. I was going to do it with J65. People are like, no, it's so pretty, that'll ruin their looks of it. I said, okay, I won't do it. But anyways, all right, well, there you go. That was my Maiden, my rant about the plane. Flew amazing. Just be careful. It's got some pretty strong gear. Make sure you have it needs more elevator authority, so make sure you go to maximum throws and up your elevator authority the best you can, because it does need more elevator. But other than that, she's a great flying plane. I really like the way she flies. Love the way she looks. And I may just leave her alone, not put afterburners in, because she is so beautifully scale and such a good looking plane, and that's not what was intended for. So there you go, folks. Thank you so much for watching, stopping by, and listening to my long rants about these jets. God bless y'all. Let's keep them in the air, folks. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, keep them in the air. God is good. And that is the FREEWING ME262 Twin 70. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.